Right. I was going to do like individual videos over the coming weeks about, oh, is Donald, is Kyle. I feel like for now, anyway, for now, it might be best just to do one solid episode or one video, just kind of discussing what we know in terms of, okay, guys, who is the mole? Who is the leak? Who is the person evidently in the White House who is giving information to Victoria's parents? I mean, Kyle seems to be like the most logical explanation given the fact that he, as Sam put it, is fighting his way up the ranks in order to be in a top position, by taking Max's spot and basically securing a place in like the top position with the White House officials, like making sure he's the yes man for Hunter, pretty much, um what's the word I'm looking for here? Making his request a reality, basically doing what he can to make sure the president is pleased without really caring about the protocols and procedures. Like he makes sure that, his tracks are covered whenever Hunter is doing something dirty. I mean, honestly, we only seen the one time, and that was with Denise. But even Hunter said, like, wow, I mean, even Max couldn't do it as efficient as you. Like, got the family out of here, snuck Denise in, like, nothing. So it just seems to me like Kyle is doing what he can to get in such a position that he would be closer to the president than anyone else to an extent, which would mean it makes sense why he would want to up himself in the rankings so fast, so he would be more privy to sensitive information to pass along to Victoria's parents. But in recent episodes, it's like, what if Donald could be that person? I mean, even Hunter is suspicious of everyone. He's like, hey, are you wearing a wire? It's like, sir, don't worry. You can trust me. I'm on your side. And it's almost like, Donald is like, are you a little too on his side? Because, well, even Donald said in the early episodes that he pulled a lot of strings to make sure Hunter or this family made it into the White House. So one can make the argument that Donald is tied closely to the parents, given the fact that he says in the trailer for tonight's episode, I work for some powerful people. So it's like, okay, Donald, something you're not telling us? I mean, he passed along a list of recommendations from Hunter's father-in-law for the, cabinet, or was it the Supreme Court? I think it was like cabinet members, and Hunter ripped it up. He's like, I mean, since we don't see who the hell the vice president is, it's almost like Donald is like an unofficial vice president trying to make sure Hunter stays on task. But it's just that we don't really know for sure whose side he's on. Honestly, I feel like Donald is more preoccupied and more interested in keeping his own secrets covered up in regards to, his past with Kyle than anything else power-wise. But it was mentioned that the only reason he married Lily was not only to cover up his tracks with Kyle, but also married her in order to get his position as the chief. What's his position? Is it chief of staff, right? Chief of staff. So it's just one of those situations where Donald married Lily as a power move. So one could make the argument that he probably has ties with Victoria's parents, so much so that he has to leak information in order to keep his own position secure. But aside from that, looking at the White House staff, Priscilla and Sam seem to be clean. Max is, well, he's been with the family for so long, so technically, wouldn't it make sense for him to be a person to leak information on the Franklin family to Victoria's parents, given the fact that he's been with the family so long, he knows their, little secrets from the inside out. So it makes sense for him to be someone to actually get that information. Not to mention, maybe Kyle's going to get himself into trouble if because Max has been demoted, he isn't able to give information to Victoria's parents as he was when he was, like their right hand security. So maybe Kyle's going to be eliminated because he's overstepping his boundaries. That's a possibility too. Then we move to the likes of like Gene. I don't think so. And I mean, I was talking with Chandler earlier today, and I brought up the subject of, and sometimes in murder mysteries and crime movies and stuff like that, there's always the saying that the butler did it. So maybe Richard is the inside person, but I don't think that's the case, especially with him being on the outside after he got fired. So with him being fired, he wouldn't know what's going on in the White House. So no Richard. Now I want to throw a curveball in here, even though I don't think this is the case, but it would be an interesting twist. What if Gail or Jason or both of them are the leaks who are giving information to Victoria's parents? Now, based on what we saw on screen, Jason and Gail don't seem to take their grandmother seriously in regards to why Victoria is such a child around her mother. Pretty much not the venomous serpent. Kids are yelling outside the window. I'm sorry. Not the venomous serpent that she usually tends to be when dealing with them personally. And Gail, I mean, Jason knows the White House inside and out. I mean, not maybe fully, but he's definitely learning. I mean, hey, he was able to help his sister get out. He's been on the roof a couple of times. I mean, it makes sense for him to know a lot of things. I mean, if he's able to slip by Secret Service, that says a lot right there. Gail is willing to do whatever it takes to get out of the White House. So maybe she's giving information to her grandparents in order to sabotage her parents in order to get the family out of the White House altogether. Again, that's just a crazy kind of extension theory I'm using here, but it's like they say, you never expect the children. So who's to say they couldn't be betraying their parents by teaming with their grandparents? But Hunter was put in the White House for a reason. So I doubt that they would want to be getting rid of him. Hence why, I mean, going back to what Hunter's saying, like, you know what, they brought me this far. Now they're finally going to take me out. And I'm like, well, why would they take you all the way to the White House only to, you know, deal with you there? It just doesn't make sense to me unless there's some kind of end game we don't know about. Yeah, every time I say end game, I'm thinking about, you know, Avengers. So sue me. But looking at the suspects, who do you think? Do you think it's Kyle, Donald, Max, one of the kids, Richard, Jean, somebody I didn't mention in this video for whatever reason? We haven't seen Yuma in a while. You know, the female Secret Service member we seen in several episodes. I mean, it's someone who knows what's going on, and it really goes back to, why did Victoria's mother show up now? Did this someone leak the... I mean, I feel like the deciding factor was Hunter giving that stock information to Denise, and that's what led to her untimely demise. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens, guys. But with that being said, maybe I feel like each episode we're kind of getting more breadcrumbs, hence why I haven't done a video on this subject in a while. But let me know what you think. This could be a very, very divisive conversation in the comment section below. But as always, subscribe, hit the bell notification, the icon. Make sure if you haven't done so already, follow me on social media. Links are below. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on Patreon, Cash App, or PayPal.